In the videos that we've looked at so far, we've seen your musical journey and looked at the technical aspects of polyrhythm and polyphasing. And you've spoken a lot, and in showing us, you've spoken a lot about the mathematical side of it. And it could, in some senses, be seen as a rigid technical exercise, very virtuosic. But for you, there's a lot more to it than that, isn't there? It's serving the music rather than...
Yeah, ultimately it's a means of making the music like multi-dimensional. So you've got so you can hear it 5 or 6 different ways. You can listen to it one time and be following a certain part with other parts in the peripheral, or another part with another part in the peripheral, and you can go through and hear it lots of different ways. It's the same thing different ways. Like when you look at a tree, different times of the year, different times of day, it looks very different, smells very different. So I mean that's one of the big attractions of it. But it's not really, if it's played well, if I'm doing what I'm trying to do, it shouldn't sound horribly complicated, like a lot of 20th century music that's kind of going, all that sort of thing. I don't want to make...
Who's that?
That was just like, I'm not going to call anybody out for writing that sort of thing, but there's some of that sort of thing like given, if it's complexity, it should be complexity that's hidden. Like you listen to some Bach, and it's just blissful and sublime, but you don't hear the incredibly clever mathematics that makes it like that. So if the maths and that thing is good, it should be invisible. No one should really be hearing that. It should just be hearing like, oh wow, it sounds magical and otherworldly, or maybe multidimensional, and that's because of the mathematically worked out
It's also in a
structure.
sense, so it's not either or, is it? Because for you, mathematics is magical.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, it's the study of absolute, or as absolute truth as I think the mind can grasp. It's like the sort of the basic level of rationale. Yeah, I mean, music is always a conceptualization of numbers, in a sense. When you get down to it, that's really what's going on. When you're hearing this or you're hearing that, you're just hearing numeric relations. If you're hearing in your mind, if you're playing this chord and you're hearing la, that's because you're hearing a fiveness ultimately. It's just that we conceptualize that as an E, but actually, more purely, that is the sound of 5.
Why is that the sound of 5?
Because it's the 5th harmonic in the harmonic series. If you go the harmonic series, you've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You notice the numbers like 6 because it's very composite for its size. It's nice and consonant. But 11, being not a very workable number, and 13 are not so. And they're only approximations anyway because of equal temperament. But that's the reason that some notes sound more consonant than others, is because of where they fall in the harmonic series. The lower numbers sound more consonant in general.
I'm just interested in how you can describe to us the way in which you can use polyrhythms in very different ways, choosing different keys, creating different moods.
Well, yeah, there's all kinds of different combinations of phases and polyrhythms, and some suit certain keys better. Like, if I wanted a very gentle sound, I like D minor for a gentle sound. It's kind of nice, just a gentleness about it. So for this edge, I think it's number 6. Actually ended up in G major there, but that's a very gentle key as well, G major. So that's actually number 7. I said number 6, it's number 7. Actually number 7, D minor. It's not exactly how it goes, but that is the key of D minor, a very gentle sound. Whereas like A minor is a key that's got, I feel like A minor is quite a strong key, quite bright and strong. So using that for number 10, which has got this driving. That's starting off 5/3 with a 4 phase in both hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, but 5 phase. 5 in right hand, 3 in left hand. In the 4th etude, I'm using 5/3 again, but because the left hand phase is in 4, it really sounds like before you come in, the left hand is doing 4, but I'm counting that as 3. So when I bring my right hand in 5, but doing a 6 pattern, it just sounds like they're occupying very, very different worlds. That's why I've got one down at the bottom, one at the top, and G major, which is maybe kind of slightly wizardry or magical key. So I get this. And so on. So yeah, it's using different kinds of patterns in different kind of keys. Certain sorts of rhythmic tonality work for me. Certain kinds of certain keys, but it's a totally subjective thing, I think.
Nature is a huge inspiration for you.
Yeah, I mean, my favourite music of all is the bird song. Just sitting in the garden, listening to the birds, sitting in the woods, listening to the birds, and the sound of the wind in the trees. It's incredibly intricate, beautiful sound, like so well proportioned and just marvellous in every way. But also the sight of nature, particularly water, just looking at the sea or the river, and those interweaving patterns of waves. It's a very big parallel with the interweaving textures of polyrhythm that I'm kind of using. So that's the kind of images that I've got in mind when I'm thinking about the music, is water waves and wind in trees, because as well there's a kind of meeting of different mathematical influences. On the water, it's obvious you've got one set of waves going this way and another set of waves going this way, so they're kind of different waveforms at different angles, different speeds, and that causes this interference pattern, which has got great, amazing beauty to it. Something slightly less obvious on a tree, you've got the speed and the curvature of the wind interacting with the particular density of the particular tree, the particular shape of the leaves, which creates a certain sound. But that sound is the combination of the meeting of these two mathematical things. And as is polyrhythm, it's the meeting of like maybe 4 different speeds with 4 different phases. And I might throw in a few different mode shifts and key changes and that sort of thing. So it's the constant interweaving of different mathematical patterns. But the inspiration from nature, because nature is tending to making really, really great complexity out of very simple things all mashed up. Like a tree is doing kind of like, there's quite a lot of simple things going on, but all together and all their influences together, it makes this incredible, beautiful thing. And with polyrhythm as well, if you've got just a few simple things going on at different speeds with different phase patterns, they can make really interesting, intricate sounds before you've even done much.
So in a sense, I'm just thinking back to when you spoke about Wagner and how you had that moment with Tristan and Isolde of feeling that it had been done so perfectly that you couldn't, it was a bit of a dead end for you. There was no way that you could take it, so you needed to find a new way forward, if you like.
There was that feeling.
I'm just wondering, when you look at nature and you're obviously very aware of the perfection and the intricacy, do you not have that same sense of feeling of how do you take it and turn it into something?
I don't feel I'm really competing with nature in the same way that I might feel a little bit. I don't know if I'm exactly competing with my favourite composers. I don't know, but I don't feel that with nature. Like, oh wow, the bird song's so amazing. How can I go further than that? Because it feels like really, ultimately, all good art should point back to nature anyway. It's like the best music experience people can have is to go and listen to the birds or listen to the sea. And I think really good music should help to point the mind in that direction or condition the mind in that way. Perhaps if you listen to a lot of Bach or a lot of Beethoven, you're in a better place to be able to really deeply hear the extraordinary beauty of nature. And I'd hope that this music is doing that same sort of thing. I want to point towards the extraordinary beauty of nature.